Democracy? Democracy.
Hello, this is Adam from NowGamer.
This is Paul.
And as you probably already know, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare has now been announced. So we've taken a look at the trailer that came out, the various screenshots they've announced, and some of the information that was in the Game Informer article to give you everything there is to know about Call of Duty.
So Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is going to be on PS4, Xbox One and PC. It's being developed by Sledgehammer Games. There is going to be a PS3 and Xbox 360 version as well, but that's not being developed by Sledgehammer. So they've said that's going to be developed by another studio, but we don't know who that will be yet. We also know the release date for Advanced Warfare, which is 4th of November 2014. Could perhaps see a delay on the 360 and PS3 versions, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So the game's set in 2052, so it's got futuristic tech, obviously, it's being brought in with all the weapons and so on. It's bringing PMCs or private military contractors to the forefront of the story. Kevin Spacey's a big bad guy by the looks of the trailer. From what he's saying in the trailer, it appears as if he's going to be the antagonist. And he owns a large private military contractor who works for the army. And there's also going to be a terrorist group called the KVA, who apparently will initiate a big attack at the beginning of the game against all the cities. So I guess you'll start off working for Kevin Spacey's little group and end up fighting against him in some fashion later on.
In terms of settings, we haven't seen anything confirmed yet, but the trailer did highlight two places. San Francisco being the first one, you saw the Golden Gate Bridge that was being destroyed at the time, so it's probably going to be quite a key part of the game. And then there was Lagos, Nigeria, which is another part that seems to be attacked. It's probably going to be attacked by the KVA, we don't know. But that's going to be part of the story, I guess. That's not something we need to spoil necessarily. Additionally, we have found out through the Game Informer article that another location that's been hinted at is Detroit.
And that's where I come in.
The trailer shows a lot of new mechanics and technology that's going to be introduced to the game. The biggest thing is probably the exosuits or exoskeletons that the soldiers were wearing. In the trailer we saw that they were doing sort of superhuman jumps using the exoskeleton. We don't know what other abilities there will be, but the Game Informer article has given us a bit of information on that, saying that you'll be able to customise and upgrade your suit during the campaign using points that you earn in the missions. Presumably it will appear in multiplayer in some form as well, but all they've said about multiplayer is players can imagine what kind of things we could do in multiplayer. So they haven't specifically said that stuff's going to be in there, but we can probably guess that it will be.
Another feature that was shown in the trailer was a pair of fancy gloves that seem to allow people to climb walls. We'd seen this in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, but it was more of a scripted event there. Here it looks like you can have a little bit more control of it, though I don't think you can actually have freedom to climb any wall or building. Whether, again, this will be in multiplayer or not, we won't know.
There is also some grenades in there that you can just throw as concussion grenades, but if you cook them for long enough, they become threat detection grenades, which is basically like detective vision in the Batman games, which is now in every game. So obviously is also in this one. So you know it reveals the landscape to you. You can see where the enemies are within it, and again that's something we've seen in multiplayer and Titanfall, something similar. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that appear in the multiplayer as well.
And again, there's cloaking, which is again we've seen in Titanfall, so it must be quite a popular thing these days. But invisibility is something we see in the trailer. Again, probably going to be a feature, maybe a perk for multiplayer.
Drones are back as well from Black Ops 2. In the trailer we see a soldier throw out a drone, and they appear multiple points throughout the trailer, so presumably they're going to be a fairly big feature. There's also one moment in the trailer where we see a soldier deploy their own cover, so I guess that's going to be in there. I mean, you can imagine that being a bit of a problem in multiplayer, like being able to put your own cover wherever you want, but...
It does sound like it might irritate people like the Riot Shield did, so...
Yeah, maybe they'll find a way to make it work.
I'm sure. In terms of weapons, it wouldn't be sci-fi nonsense if we didn't have energy weapons, and the Game Informer article did mention those. We don't yet know what they're going to entail, but you can expect that they will use a different type of ammunition and probably fire in a different way too. Again, you'd expect they'd probably appear in multiplayer too.
There was a number of vehicles that we got to see in the trailer as well, so hover bikes most notably. There was a brief shot from a first-person perspective of someone on a hover bike, so it looks like you will actually get to use them rather than them just being in cutscenes or whatever. There was a giant four-legged tank as well. I don't know whether we'll get to pilot that or not. That wasn't clear from the trailer.
There was a section with one of those in Black Ops 2, however, so you might be able to expect that.
Yeah, and obviously there was helicopters as normal, but these were futuristic-looking helicopters. It wasn't clear whether there'll be a section where you pilot them or fire a turret from one or whatever. This is probably all going to be single-player stuff, you would imagine. We haven't seen vehicles in multiplayer before, and they've done nothing to suggest, in Call of Duty I should say, and there's done nothing to suggest that will be the case, so we really expect these to stick to single-player.
In terms of multiplayer, they haven't said anything about that, but they have mentioned how with a lot of the single-player features, you can expect those, you can imagine how some of those will work in multiplayer. That includes things like exosuits, cookable grenades for different effects, maybe even deployable cover. We mentioned all that previously, but that's the kind of things that we'll probably be looking at. Again, that they'll probably want to reveal multiplayer at a later date, and as of yet, we don't know anything about that.
They have said, though, that there will be co-op. Again, that's it. They've said there'll be co-op. We don't know what form that will take. So that's a feature.
That's really everything we kind of know about Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, at least from the trailers, the screenshots and the Game Informer article. No doubt there'll be more to come in the next few months, especially with E3 on the horizon. But yeah, that's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. It's coming to Xbox One, PS4 and PC, as well as PS3 and Xbox 360.